cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A question mark appears over Pikachu's head. A cutscene. A magnifying glass spins into view.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene.
Who's that Pokemon?
A magnifying glass lowers into view. A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
It rotates out of light, erupts from its tummy. A cutscene.
Who's that Pokemon?
A magnifying glass. White discs fly from its sides, blasting the ground and sending the boys flying. A cutscene.
Who's that Pokemon?
A question mark appears over Pikachu's head. The magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass crackle between the two Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. A cutscene.
Who's that Pokemon?
A magnifying glass. A cutscene.
Who's that Pokemon?
A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A magnifying glass drops into view. Leon winks at Ash.
Who's that Pokemon?
A magnifying glass.
We have to rescue them. Rescue them? Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. A tiny red ball comes out.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
We can do it like twinsies. Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass just sat on a table.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
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 Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass drop.
You are the narrator? It's magic. Yep. Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
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 Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. Horace's smile falls as Go runs back into the cave.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. The Pokemon equally matched. They stand off opposite each other.
Who's that Pokemon?
It bats its green diamond-shaped wings.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. Flames spring up in Go's imagination.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. A giant bright blue octopus type opens out its tentacles. Riolu's red eyes scowl as he growls at Graplocked.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. A cutscene. A magnifying glass drops into view, rotating away, revealing Gyarados.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass. Lucario holding the presumed Pikachu. They're flung back by a lamp pole again.
Who's that Pokemon?
A cutscene. A magnifying glass.